This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to New Jersey Satellite Studio, where we show you the flavor of life here in the District of New Jersey.
Everyone, welcome back to INCRadio New Jersey Satellite Studio. Today we are talking about the power of effective leadership. Right, Leia?
Yes, Marisol. Most of us have worked with managers and other leaders, but there were some that made us really feel inspired, motivated, and empowered to maybe even become leaders in other ways as well. So today we will find out how we can also develop those skills and qualities. So to our live audience there in the live chat, we want to ask you, what are the most important traits of a leader for you? This is a very personalized question for everyone. So to start off our discussion, I want to ask, is a manager a leader? And what's the difference? So for the purposes of our discussion, we are going to say that managers oversee tasks and direct people. So they are the ones who oversee the process to make sure the process is going well. And then leaders can also be managers, but not necessarily. Leaders what mostly inspire, influence, and guide their team toward a shared vision. A lot of companies have mission goals, vision goals, just goals, and that's what the leader focuses on. They create a sense of community and foster a positive and innovative work environment. So that's what we hope, right?
Yeah, Leia, before this topic, I would interchange a leader and a manager. Like for me, they're the same. But after reading up on as a preparation for our discussion, there's a big difference between a leader and manager. Simply put, so that our listeners will understand better, a leader is like the visionary. He thinks of ideas while the manager executes it, right?
Correct.
Simply put.
I know Naima also, I'm sure, has had, we all have had varied work experience. I mean, have you ever had a manager who wasn't a leader? When I think of that, I think of the person who just does the checklist and just says to you, did you do that thing? And then that's it. Or if you didn't meet your goal, you messed up, and then that's all they say. Like, there's no encouragement, there's no empathy there. I don't know. I feel like that's how you know your manager is not a leader. Do you agree, disagree? Any thoughts on this, Naima?
I agree, and I agree that there are some leaders or some managers who just they just punch the clock, do what they need to do, and they're gone. And I do believe some managers believe in the vision, and they're like right there with the leader, like taking it on. So it could be a mixture of the two, depending on the person, honestly.
Okay, so since you mentioned that already, so are all leaders the same? In what way? Are there ways that they are the same? No, this is kind of a big question. So just quickly, in your experience, are all the leaders the same, Naima?
No, for me, leaders, I think leaders have different visions. They have different purposes. And I think that's what differs them and makes them different. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about you, Marisol. Do you want to say anything about leaders? Are they all the same?
Yeah, I think leaders can be the same, but they can also be different. Leaders are the same in the respect that leaders are visionary. are goal setters or goal getters. So that's what makes them the same. But there are different also in their leadership style. So there's so many different leadership styles, and that's where all leaders, differ.
Okay, so a leader. You know what I was thinking of? Someone had mentioned that um, a boss versus a leader. So I think a lot of people confuse the two. Is a boss a leader? What I
I
think.
think
What do
yeah,
you think?
a boss, yeah, a boss can be a leader, or maybe that's one of the leaders' leadership style. Like he's
I,
more
it has
authoritative.
Yeah, it has such a negative connotation though, right? When you think like, oh, he's bossing me around, it's like, well, he's the boss. These are a lot of things that I think people have in their mind when they think of leaders, managers, bosses. So let's dive a little deeper and talk about our own personal opinions. So Naima, what characteristics for you are the most important that a leader should have?
For me, the characteristics that are important to me is integrity, keeping your word. And if you cannot keep your word, make sure that you acknowledge it and make a new promise. I think that's really important. Everybody is not going to always keep their word, especially in different time constraints and things like that. But if they can say, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this, this is when I can repromise. I think that's having integrity and just keeping the lines of communication open. Loyalty, being obedient to your vision and to others. And I think what's really important, I think, is having a purpose, like a leader,
Wow,
being grounded.
that's a lot. That's a lot. Before we will expound on those, what about you, Maricel? For you, what are the most important qualities a leader should have?
Yeah, so there's so many qualities, but if I were to choose my top three qualities, I think one quality is, if you're a leader of a team, you should be able to delegate. So you shouldn't think that you're the only one capable of accomplishing your goal, right? You're not an island, right? That's why you have a team, because you want members to work towards the same goal. So for you to be able to delegate to your team, you should trust your team. Therefore, you should, like, if you're in the hiring process, you should hire the right people and trust that these people are able to take the task that you delegate to them. So delegate, you should be able to delegate, right? And not take all the work. Another thing is, you should own your mistakes. You should take responsibility for whatever is the outcome of your project. If you didn't do well, you don't blame others. You don't blame your team members. You're the leader, so you should own it. And also, you should always be positive, right? Like, if you failed in your project, you don't show to your team that you're discouraged, that you're going to quit. Instead, you you tell your team, like, what did we learn from this failure, and what can we get out of this failure, so that we can do better in our next projects.
So two things, well, a lot of things actually. So just to unpack a little bit about integrity, I agree with all of you, both of you, all of you, both of you. And in terms of integrity, just to break it down a little more, that's about being honest, maybe transparent. And I think, also Marisol mentioned accountability, taking responsibility for your actions. And also, I think the thing that we are also talking about is resilience. If we don't meet our goal, I was like, to be positive, it means to try again, right? So I think of, there was a boxing metaphor that was mentioned on INCRadio Florida earlier. Everything is going great until someone gets punched in the face, right? So that's the boxing metaphor that Robert Tapalas used to talk about resilience in a leader. And I think that's very important, resilience and adaptability, because if something doesn't go your way, you have to be able to pivot quickly sometimes, especially if it's a live situation, like a live production, I'm thinking of Naima on the stage singing, and someone, her headset's not working, her mic's not working, or something's not working. Like, what do? You have to lead in that moment. And even you as a mom, Maricel, like, something falls through, or I don't know, there's a car problem. How are you going to get the kids to, school or the event? So, those are the small things that affect. I mean, we're leaders in our own life, and I think all those qualities that you mentioned. Well, I hope I have them.
Yeah, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Sometimes you're like, the title of the show is Power of Effective Leaders, right? Leadership. And it's like, I hope I'm effective in a positive way. Like, I want a positive effect, not a negative effect, right? I also want to say that one characteristic about good leaders is that they also develop leaders. I know there's a fine line. There's two different definitions of a mentor and a leader, but leaders grow more leaders. So I know there's mentorship in leading and leadership in mentoring as well. So I'm glad no one mentioned that. I just wanted to acknowledge that those are two terms that are sometimes also confused, but also used interchangeably. Okay, so now that we talked about character, any other characteristics you want to mention? I like loyalty and obedience, Naima, because a good leader is also a good follower, right? You know what's at stake. I guess the only other thing that comes to mind is respect. I think a leader should respect their teammates, their members, even if you don't agree. There are many times in many situations where you will not agree with the leader of your group, of your department, leader in your family, but you will respect their decision. So
Yeah. Another thing,
go ahead.
yeah, another thing is a good leader also praises the members, right? Like give credit when credit is due. And if if the project turns out successful, you don't just take, like, you own your mistakes, right? A good leader will own the mistake, but if the project is successful, you give credit to your members and don't just take credit all, like, I did it all, nobody helped me, right? So own your mistakes, but praise the people, that's working under you. And I think it's also important to welcome ideas from everyone, although you may be the leader, but two or more heads are better than one. So a good leader should ask for suggestions from the team.
No, those are great. Anything else to add, Naima, before we move on to our next question?
I was just going to say a great leader is someone who knows the needs and wants of the people in which they lead, and they help them to become more effective. And people who leaders who pay attention to those needs and wants get a lot of results from those who are leading, because they understand them. They're more relatable to their circumstance, and they are driving what they want to. So it's like a ebb and flow, work together.
Yeah, emotional intelligence, right? To be in tune or understand what your teammates are, their concerns are, what they're voicing to you, the energy that they're giving to you, to be in tune with that, not to just ignore it, but acknowledge it. I know it's hard to be, someone mentioned active listener on a previous discussion. But I think as a leader, it's hard to address everyone individually, but they listen, right? If you send them a note, you send them a message, they listen, and they might address it in a different way. So I think as good teammates, we also need to understand that a leader also has difficult decisions to make, and they're limited time, right? Especially in a volunteer situation. We were all doing a lot of things, I have to say. So, okay. So now that we've talked about qualities, let's talk about who are the most effective leaders that you've had in your life. This might get a little heavy, and that's okay. And discuss the qualities, if you can, that had the biggest impact on you. We're going to start off with Naima for this one.
I'm going to say my parents for sure. They are the foundation from which I come from. And so everything that I saw them do, it became a part of who I am. And of course, other people, like, for example, my mentor, Mr. Bailey. And I guess what their qualities were grit, being able to, even in the face of challenges, still persevere, still keep going. When I seen that early on with my mother, just embodied it, as well as like my grandmother, just grit. having that unmessable with mindset, and just keeping it going. My mentor, just being able to like be someone who is Mr. Bailey, being someone who is an inspiration, like a scholar, and like it, wanting us to be scholars and really take on education as a love for learning, not just doing it to get a particular position or to have a particular status, but really love learning. So I learned that. And then also there is a way in which you do something, everybody, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. It's not about where you're from, it's how you are when you are in that particular environment. So yeah, it's really, really just so positive, really positive.
That's so powerful about not letting where you come from hold you back to where you want to go. No, that's great. And grit, I had to look that up. I always look it up whenever you say it. I know what it is, but just for our listeners and our viewers, grit is unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. So another way to say very brave and unmessable. I like that. Can't mess with me. You can't confuse me, right? You can't take me down. All right, Marisol, what about you?
My answer would be the same as Naima. My parents are the leaders who I look up to growing up. I grew up in a I grew up in poverty, and looking back, my parents are they showed resilience and perseverance, that no matter they showed their children that no matter, like, we shouldn't let poverty stop us from succeeding. So I saw the hard work from my parents, and that that guided me as I grew up, and that's something that also I want to impart to my children. So being resilient and being perseverant, no matter what trials come your way, no matter what life throws at you, you persevere and you stay resilient. And also, in my current situation, I think I look up to the director of the work I'm my job, and I like his leadership because he's empathic, he's very transparent, and he communicates to the team well, and he's transparent. If our company is doing well, he tells all the members, and if we're not doing well, like if we we've got ding on a survey, so he's also transparent, and he is like a problem solver. So we saw this problem, so what are we going to do next, like how are we going to solve this? And it's just very motivating and positive. So yeah.
No, that's great. That's a great energy to have in your professional life. And for me, it's also my parents. I think, and it's only natural, right? Because our parents are the first leaders in our lives. Just to add to what everyone has said about their parents and their family members, I really admire my parents for being brave to leave their home country, the language that they know, the property that they know, like knowing what's around the corner, and leaving the security of their families as well to come to another country with their children, and having confidence that God will take care of the family, even though there were many struggles and many hardships. We also did not grow up with a lot of money, Sister Marisol, and I didn't know it growing up, because my parents, I don't know, maybe that's a kid's thing, but I never felt like I was wanting in anything. Because I was surrounded by family. I always had my necessities. I always had something to eat. I always had clothes. They weren't name brands, but they were proper. They were decent. They were warm. And I really admire my parents for being brave and for trusting in what God could do for our lives. And that's something that has stayed with me as I've gotten older. I hate to say older, as I've gotten more mature. I still feel like a kid sometimes when I'm talking to my parents. But in terms of being a Christian, I do admire, there's been so many church officers and ministers that have had an impact on the direction of my life, especially in crucial times. But I do want to highlight Brother Eduardo Manalo, who's been our executive minister of the iglesianicristo Church of Christ for now 15 years. So happy anniversary, 15th anniversary for his dynamic leadership. He personally has shared with us some of the things that he's had to go through. And it's admirable how he has prioritized other people first, namely the Church of Christ, over his own feelings. And I find that that is a struggle that a lot of us go through. And I admire him for sharing that struggle with us. And he also acknowledges that we also face those things. And I just feel like he's so empathetic, and he does so much to make sure we are also spiritually well, through traveling, through admonitions, through messages to our individual congregations. I think it's important for a leader, especially a spiritual leader, to communicate that sense of security, safety, stability, and hope. Most of all, hope for better things to come. So why is it important to have or to be an effective leader, especially in your own life? I know this is kind of a big question, but if we look at it, we are the leaders of our own life. As much as we don't like, adulting sometimes, we're the decisions we make affect our lives and affect the lives of those we care for in whatever groups that we're involved with. So I'm going to start off with Maricel on this one.
Well, it is important to become an effective leader because your team, the members, whoever it is that you're leading, look up to you, and you're the one who inspires them and you motivate them to achieve whatever it is, whatever the goal that you have set for the team. So if you are not an effective leader, you don't expect to reach the goal that you're working towards to. So it is important to be effective in your leadership.
Okay. As a mom, though, how does that play into how you do things?
Well, as a mom, as a parent, you have to set the example, right? So you have to embody what you do, what you teach, and not just teach without doing it. So as a parent, I always have to make sure that if I tell my kids, you don't give up when you fail, then you should also show that, because they know what's going on in your family. Like for our family, like they know that we're embarking in this new side hustle, like we're trying to be entrepreneurs. So that's what I'm trying to teach my children too. Like I tell them it's okay to get a job, but eventually I want you to be entrepreneurs. Like you shouldn't be always working for money, but let money work for you and work smart. So that's what I'm trying to be a good example at this present moment in our family. So you should show them how to achieve those goals by knocking out all obstacles and not feeling down when you have no sales, like for the day or for the week, because they know that, because we're in a group chat. And so that's what I'm trying to be.
Your sons are in a group chat for your family business?
Yeah, because
Wow.
I want to teach them.
That's great. I think part of being a good leader is also including your teammates, so that they can see what the process is. Because if you can't raise a leader or a good leader if they don't know how to overcome the things that you've already overcome as a group, right? So I think that's amazing. That's great. All right, what about you, Sister Naima? What is it? Why is it important? Yeah, go ahead.
Sister Marisol, no, that was really powerful. I appreciate, as you being a mom, expressing like where you want your future to go with your, not just yourself, but with your kids. And like for me as a leader in education, like my job is to inspire and impact the future. So a teacher has a huge role in actually like creating societies, like people who are actually going to be movers and shakers in the world. And so I think my voice and also like what I stand on makes a huge difference in just, people discovering who they are and what they want to be in life and how they want to impact others. It's like a ripple effect. As a teacher, we don't realize but, and they say teachers don't get paid a lot, but it's such a rewarding field because it is a huge responsibility and a huge ability to inspire others to be effective, and not just as children, but again, in the future, like who we are even today probably came from a teacher who was effective and really inspired you to be who you are today. Again, i.e., parents are the first teacher. So, like, it matters to me to just have that grounding and like being purposeful. And if I have that in the background in my mind, I'm always going to drive myself to be great because I need for the future to be great. And of course, be inspired and to be great. So, of course, God willing, because it's not up to me. I do have inspirations and goals, but ultimately, I really would love for people to have a great life, live a life that they dream of.
Wow. I think Naima and Marisol, you can, if you can put that in like a daily message, I'll just play those messages every day as reminders of, being a great leader, why it's important to be a great leader. I love your answers. It's hard to follow up the two of you. You have such strong words. What I want to add is that I think it's important to have an effective leader in your life. Especially when I think of Brother Eduardo Manalo, our executive minister, is because there's so much noise in the world. There's so much going on. I don't watch the news as much anymore, but if you do, even on social media, there's so many distractions. There's a lot of added pressure that we don't need. And even just with the responsibilities and concerns for our families and our loved ones, and for the things that we want for the future, it's so easy to feel down, to feel lost, to feel confused, to make decisions. Sometimes we're struck with indecision, or we're paralyzed with anxiety and fear. But when you have someone like a spiritual leader that reminds you that, don't forget to pray about it. Don't forget to trust that God, nothing is impossible with God, that even if you're not getting what you want, his plans are better than your own. So trust that you're going in the right direction. So I think it's important to have someone like that in our lives, because it keeps us going in the right direction, and also gives us more resilience. Exactly what Marisol said earlier, not to give up, but to keep trying. Okay. So we are actually a little behind schedule. So we're going to start our next segment with a video greeting from the District of New Jersey. If our tech can please play it.
From the Ecclesiastical District of New Jersey, we would like to greet our most beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Happy 15th anniversary po! We love you po!
I think that's also something that it's been in our discussion, but we didn't say. Brother Eduardo reminds me of love. Love. I don't think making difficult decisions would be possible if you didn't love, right? If you didn't love and care for the people in your life.
Absolutely.
I know when you're angry with let's say your family, it's hard to be like, no, I love you, but I don't like you right now. But there's still there's still love. So we love you, Paul Eduardo. Happy 15th anniversary. We feel so blessed to have you as our spiritual leader. All right. So Naima, do you have any shout outs or greetings?
I just want to shout out. I want to first and say happy 15th anniversary, Eduardo. We love you, Paul. And just my family, just my foundation, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister, my family, my nieces, my family, just love them. And thank you for their support always.
All right. What about you, Marisol?
Happy 15th anniversary po ka Eduardo. Thank you so much for your dynamic leadership. Thank you so much for loving the church and for leading us to salvation. And hi to my family. That's all. And to my friends who are listening.
Yes, we know you have a lot of supporters and fans, Marisol. So we want to go to Team Live Chat. We want to say hello to Arnie Jane, all the way from Fort Worth, South Central, Texas. We want to say hello to Rowena Guerzon, all the way from Rockland, New York. Also, hello to Zenaida Novosteris, who's tuning in from Midtown Toronto, District of Greater Toronto, Canada. From Arnie Jane, leadership that is supportive is very important. And also hello to my mom, Gigi Fajardo. She's saying hello to us. And Arnie Jane also says a leader who can motivate and inspire is an effective leader. So hopefully we have those in our lives. Also from Abe Evangelista, purpose, goals, these are the things a leader keeps in mind and to which they guide their team. No, that's true. It's like a sheep herder, making sure that everyone is accounted for and goes to the right place. We also want to say hello to Bien Castillo. Thanks for tuning in. And hello to me and Manzano Guerzon. Happy Saturday. Happy chapel cleaning from the local congregation of Philadelphia. Okay, so we have these greetings and to celebrate and to celebrate the 15th anniversary of leadership anniversary of Brother Eduardo Manalo, we have two songs that we would like to play to express how we truly feel about our executive minister. So go ahead to our tech.
Especially for you, we're singing. place the church administrator
who guards the church of Christ with love and dedication.
Appointed by God in these last days is the church administrator.
He teaches us the true will of God to give us strength and inspiration. I am one,
I'm one with Vivian.
I am one,
I'm one with Vivian.
we are one.
We are one, we're one with Vivian. I am
One with Vivian. We'll unite with every aim of the church administrator.
It's selfless, we can finish Christ and receive our salvation.
I am one, I'm one with Vivian. I am one,
I'm one with Vivian. We are one, we're one with Vivian. I am
one with Vivian.
He is the guardian of the church of Christ.
For the
Church, he'll give his very life.
and so we will remain on his side.
Oh, yeah.
I am one, I'm one with Vivian.
I am one, I'm one with Vivian. We are one, we're one with Vivian. I am one with Vivian.
All right, those two songs were Millions of Reasons and We Are One with EVM. Tossing over to you, Maricel.
All right, and that's it for today's show. It went by so quick. We would like to thank everyone who tuned in, and thank you to our church administration for their continuous support to INC Radio and for allowing us to have this show where we can stay connected and learn together. And we also thank our beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo, and greet him a happy 15th anniversary of Dynamic Leadership po. We appreciate all that you've done and we love you po. And we also thank our SEBSI President and CFO Coordinator, Brother Angelo Manalo.
Before we say goodbye, we again thank all of our viewers for taking the time to watch the show. We hope today's topic has given all of us reasons to appreciate our leaders and also inspiration to become an effective leader too. See you on the next episode. Take care, everyone.
This is INCRadio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.